I'm here with John Totten. Now write this number down, 233-7772.
That's right.
It's a very easy number to remember, but you may not be looking for an attorney right now, and hopefully, you're not. But when you do need an attorney, Totten and Christian Law Firm right here in Athens is here for you. And not only if you're in Athens, because you actually have clients from all over the place.
Sure, do it all over, really all over the state we've been.
Right.
Sure.
I mean, you go absolutely everywhere. With everything that you guys do, from real estate closings to DUIs to personal injury, car accidents, sometimes, and we even talk about class action suits
Sure.
when you hear about those too. But I want to talk about this morning how when you have a large case, sometimes I want it done now.
Sure.
What happens in those cases?
Well, everybody wants it done now, and the
Right.
legal process sometimes takes years.
That's not realistic, though, is it, to get it done quick?
No. Well, the factor that you want to look at is getting it done right, getting it done properly. And we've got to go through a discovery phase to find out exactly what happened, depositions that take place. To get a trial setting can take 2 years or so.
Just to get on the docket?
Sure. We just, and I want to mention this, we just settled a large case this week on Monday, actually a
Good
holiday.
For you.
Gone on for several years. So it's
Wow.
and that's the normal course in a big case. You've got experts, you've got fact witnesses. All of these things need to be done. You don't want to settle a case prematurely. That's the worst thing you can do, because without digging, you may not find that important fact that the case hinges on, that the punitive damages may hinge on.
Do people generally, like you said, this took several years to do, and I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, that you're getting those depositions earlier in the game, that way you can not play from there, but work from there to build your case?
Certainly.
Because people can forget.
Sure. Well, the first thing that we do is interrogatories and requests for production of documents, where we gather the medical records in the injury case, where we find out exactly what the other side's story is, what they say's happened, what's wrong with their automobile, what type of repairs were made, what type of bills do they have.
Right.
Then we go into the depositions of the fact witnesses. Then we go into expert depositions. So we've got doctor depositions that we've got to take. What happened? What was the diagnosis? What's the prognosis? What's their impairment, permanent impairment from, their maximum medical improvement
So
date.
is the goal to gather, like you just said, gather all this information first before you're quick to settle a case?
Sure. If you settle a case without having that knowledge and that information, you could be committing malpractice. So you've got to have that. You've got to know what type of impairment somebody has before you can put a value on the case.
So if someone comes to visit with you for a consultation, and I imagine you guys do consultations all the time.
Sure, certainly.
Just because you do a consultation does not mean that they're obligated to sign your firm.
No, not at all. They have to sign all these injury cases we do on a contingency fee basis, where we front all of the expenses. The client fronts nothing. If we recover nothing, then they're out nothing. They're out no money. We're out of the money, essentially.
Now, I think that's huge for people to know, because you may be sitting at home, you may have been in a car accident, and you're like, you know what, I haven't worked, I don't have the money to hire a good firm, and you certainly want to make sure you get a good firm.
Sure. I mean, some of these cases, they cost $50,000-$60,000 to put on, or sometimes more than that, with experts, doctors, and all these things. So, you want to be choosy. We're choosy about what we pick, but we're glad to do it to front the money for people, because
you're able to do that, and you're going to get them a settlement they're going to be happy with.
Certainly so.
Goodness. Well, I guess that's probably the biggest thing when you go in. Now, when you settle a case, is it typically the day of court, or does it sometimes happen sooner?
We mediate about 95 to 97% of them.
Okay.
And that may be closer to the trial date generally when we do that, because that's generally when we finish all of that, what I call the discovery.
So you know all the facts about the case, and you're ready to go.
You're ready to mediate. Mediators and impartial, usually an attorney that kind of bounces back and forth between the plaintiff, the injured person, and the defense, whoever caused the wreck.
So you really get to know some folks.
Oh, sure, certainly. Certainly. We've got good mediators who do it, and they generally get a case resolved. So not many cases try nowadays. Good cases will generally will generally settle because the defendant doesn't want to. Sure, they know they've got to pay. They know they're in the wrong.
All right, you've got your facts in front of you.
That's right.
All right. Well, remember too, John also does works in DUI areas as well as criminal defense. And if you have a problem, you just need to call Totten and Christian. Again, that number is 233-7772. Thank you, John. That was very important information.